Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Universal Lens. As always, I'm John Emilio, along with Henry Beltra.
You are always John Emilio.
I'm always John Emilio and Anthony Alicia. I'm not flanking greatness. That's a lie.
He's flanking greatness. You know it. He knows it. Everybody knows it.
I'm humbled to be in there. I'm very thankful to stay here with me.
A little Trumpism there. Everybody knows it.
As a matter of fact, when they walked in here, I said, wow.
You're definitely flanked by greatness. John knows it. He knows it. Everybody knows it.
And know it they must.
Know it they must. So, thank you for coming back, everybody. I hope everybody had a nice week. Hope everybody's enjoyed their week.
Everybody's enjoying their week.
Kids back to school.
Yeah, busy day.
Kids are back to school. Good.
Yeah, living life, dude.
A lot of work. A lot of work getting them back to school.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Shit. Had to drive him and drop him off. Kick him out.
Don't make it a minimum.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work. I tell you.
Get out of the
Up
car.
trunk and-
Get out of the car, kid.
Thank God for my wife. My wife threw a jab at me the other day because we went to freaking Florida.
She's beating you. You
Packed the freaking car, and we had to use the thing on the roof and everything.
all like those.
Like National Lampoon Vacation.
Yeah.
So, and you have trouble with
Listen, as long as you don't put your dead aunt on the roof, you'll be fine, right?
I was my wife up there.
Grandma and Edna.
But yeah, so we get there and I was tasked with, you set up the TV stand. I'm like, whoa. So it's a bunch of pieces and instructions. You know what? Go ahead. You guys do your thing. Just leave me.
It's a menial task, though. It's like they're giving you something to do to stay away a little bit.
And you know what?
Like, why don't you go over there and
I did.
Way to kick the damn legs down.
And I did. And I put all my effort.
good dad? That's
Right?
it.
I did a great job. I did a great job.
The best, probably the best
My
job.
best job there.
Ask anyone.
Everybody says it. And it's funny. Now, come back a few weeks later, we're here, and I forget what happened. We're talking about whatever's going on in my son's bedroom, and I said, no, that's not Master Treats. She goes, what do you know? She goes, you didn't do anything for that. I'm like, whoa. So everything was for her to be able to say, what do you know? You didn't do anything.
So you felt
Well, you just made a freaking TV.
you felt a little set up.
No, because the truth is, she does everything. I know where I'm wrong. I know where I'm right. And in this point, she's wrong. And
So she smacked you around. You said, "Thanks, I appreciate it. Let's move on."
she's wrong. She's wrong in what the way the setup was, but what's true is true. She's the mom, and she's the mama hen. She takes care
Yes.
of all the details.
But what's wrong with giving you a little bit of credit?
What is wrong with that? Damn it!
There is nothing wrong with it.
What's wrong with
She'd need to chop you at your knees.
Yeah.
Are you guys still talking?
She should have said, "But let me tell you something. That night, that TV stand you put together, oof, that'll be there for 30 years."
I got a good one, and I would say, if I wasn't flawed, I can't talk. So, but the truth is, I'm flawed. So if this is a small price you got to pay, I'll pay it. You know what I mean? Like, and I've been
Small price to pay for what?
for a good wife.
Oh, for a good wife. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you know what's out there. It's not exactly I agree.
Be thankful.
I have no idea what's out there.
Well, I don't know. I'll give you what was out there, John. I'll give you the full report later.
Yeah, right.
All sizes and everything. But the truth is, you throw us three out there in the jungle, we'll come back with a catch. We'll come back with a catch.
Rawr.
Damn it.
I love your confidence. I think I'm going to be homeless.
Confidence. Confidence is important. Absolutely.
I found the one-page woman that'll tolerate me, and I say, tolerate.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the key word.
When you have a good one,
Yeah.
you value it, and you know what you got, which is,
Yeah.
very important.
Sure it is. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's very.
I don't know how that leads into the topic. I mean,
I'll tell
It
you.
has nothing to do with it.
I feel like you add a
If you could bring.
Want me to do it?
Yeah.
Are we talking about fear?
I'd be a little, no, let me say. I'd be impressed because we're. Go ahead, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, even though,
And Joe, you made an appearance again.
I mean, you what, 10%?
Yeah. Every episode this guy calls. It's hysterical.
So let me explain something to the audience here. I am a student, as a mild student of persuasion. And
This is how you're tying it in.
Yeah.
Okay.
so one of the strongest, the thing you got to realize is that guys like us, if we had no persuasion game, we wouldn't be married to the women we were talking about. We would be shooting lower. We wouldn't be shooting as high as we did. Follow me.
Okay.
We're married.
I'm
So what?
Yes.
And we
I'm
have,
holding on for dear life.
we have to do the strong persuasion game.
yes.
How do you persuade? So the strongest form of persuasion. Thank you, John. You're welcome.
Yes.
The strongest form of persuasion is fear.
Very
So
good.
what you got to do?
Fucker did it.
So what you got to do is you got to run up to this woman who doesn't know you and go, hurry up, get in my car, because right behind you is an axe murder. And she'd be, what? Just hurry up. Fear. Then she's like, okay, this guy's here to save me.
Was the lead in that you're terrified of your wife? Was that how you were leading into it?
Soft lead. Yeah.
Right, soft lead? Okay.
Massage.
Yeah. I mean, you lost track of where he was going, but I think he was scared of it for a little bit.
You got to massage the crown.
I got you.
You know, start off with a little few open airs. Hey.
Very brave.
Very brave.
But you tied it into our topic of the day. Very good. Which was fear.
Yeah.
Fear and its many faces and how it plays into everyday life. And like you were just using the example of how fear is used to persuade a person or a mass of people to do things. How fear is, we talked about the other version of it is where fear is something that stops you from doing things that you want to do. Like in the similarity between fear and excitement, that was a post that I had put this week, right? Fear and excitement, how they're so close. So yeah, very nice job tying that. So we'll start with that one. Let's start with that angle, and then we get into the other one with the fear as far as a form of persuasion. Just like that.
We look at it as adults, but we've been having this done to us since we were little kids. This is how parents do things with children, right? Fear persuasion.
Absolutely.
I mean, there is the old hand, which I got, and belt, hand, shoe, you name it, I got it all. But the fear persuasion of if you wait till your father,
Consequences.
or
Yeah.
you know,
The fear of the consequences.
that got you. That got you going. That got
Okay.
you-
True.
And till today, it's an old, tested, tried and true method of motivating people
And it's sad that it still works, actually.
it works for the same reason that everything else kind of works or doesn't work, because you're just not knowing that there's a connection that has to be broken.
Because you're reacting to that propaganda. You react to it without any, so it's the old, what we always talk about every week. What's the main ingredient? If you don't have the awareness, that works. Now, when you're a child, most children don't have a level of awareness yet. So yes, it's very reactionary. They say, wait till your father gets home. And it might be I'm not a big fan of that kind of parenting personally. And I don't speak for anybody else. I don't think
It's been done to us.
yeah, I don't think it's productive at all. I think it's productive in that it will get a result, but it's not productive, I don't think, in the result that you get and its long-term effects on that person that you did it to, because now you initiate a certain behavior in that person that just amplifies over the years, right? So that reaction to fear becomes stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. Yes, becomes stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. So I'm not a personal fan of parenting like that. I'm not here to tell people how to parent their children, but as far as masses go, right, we've seen it in mainstream media in the world, how propaganda works. And, fear is set through our media, through our airwaves, and people who have no awareness at all. I mean, look, it's almost hard at certain times, even for an aware person, because, okay, what choice do I make here? I don't know what to believe and what not to believe. But if you have no awareness at all, you become the absolutely blind person who believes everything and says, this is what we have to do because this is what we're being told to do, right? Which is why having that disconnect between those behaviors in our mind that are naturally occurring because of our environment, how we're brought up, and having that space where you could hear that story and not say, okay, but let's take a breath.
Yeah.
Right? Let's take a breath and pause.
It just so happens that I share a lot. So whatever's going on internally, I share.
Sharing is caring, baby.
So I remember when we were recording and I told you about the spy balloon, you looked at me like, really? You know, as God, put the.
You have no idea. He was in it, and I was looking at him like,
You know, I'm a big believer, and you got to be aware of what's going on around you.
well, yeah, I agree, 110%. But he reacted. It wasn't aware. It was he went for a ride.
Yeah, I was like,
He was like this. Look,
Oh, you were that upset about him not knowing what was happening?
I wasn't upset. It was just he.
No, him.
my opinion was like, wait,
The entire country has been watching this thing.
there's a spy balloon.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Like, you know, just getting everything we have. Like, and so but you see,
We sent a $30 million plane up in the air to shoot a $4 million missile out of a balloon that cost like $30.
but that was that one day.
Yeah,
This is every day.
it went on.
Yeah, so he overreacted. When he was trying to make it, you overreacted.
Right.
That you got caught up in the propaganda, and you were like,
We're way slip past the goalie.
yeah, like and he was like going to pack up the family and move to the mountains.
Oh, you had that kind of.
That's
Sorry. All right, I misunderstood.
It's okay. It's that kind of thought process. It's not that I was rated, but I was like,
If he punches me, I'm sorry.
Oh man.
it was just like, what's going on? Like, what is this? Like, how is this even possible?
Yeah.
I can't imagine if somebody says, hey, there's an American spy balloon flying over.
It would never happen. They would never see it. Yeah.
So in my mind, I was like, going bananas. But that level of persuasion, that level of
Courtship.
fear, meaning that level of use of fear to basically take your mind on certain trips is being used daily, multiple times in news. Is when you turn on the news, they're not going to tell you that there's an old man today that has been in the hospital. Now he's in remission. They don't tell you that. And they don't tell you that he did it on exercise. They don't tell you that he was, he changed his whatever eating habit. They don't tell you anything. But what you do hear is spy balloon, and this one is running out of water
because it's a certain level of
The great
tool that they use. It's a tool that media and powers that be will use if needed to get a certain message across or whatever their idea might be or whatever they're trying to accomplish. And they know that most people, majority of people, are very reactionary and will listen. And it's almost it's like a experiment in a social experiment. One person reacts, okay, that's one thing. But now if we're in a group of people and something happens and one person kind of reacts to it, but everybody else stays back, it's still cool. What happens when the second person reacts? When that third person reacts? Now people who are still trying to be aware, like, oh, I'm processing this, and we see at some point they're going to stop trying to process. They're going to go, let's go.
Yeah.
Everybody's going. We got to go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's happened, as we know. It's happened many times, in our lives with,
But
not to name things, but
follow me down this road. All right. Would you say that the media is an extension of the government in some way, shape, or form?
Of course.
my personal opinion, it probably is. I don't have,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, I don't
want to get into the.
But the whole reason for that, meaning the utility behind that, is to be able to affect the masses.
Sure.
That's the utility behind it, right?
Well, what do you think PBS is? Government money goes toward PBS, right? That's just government-funded TV.
Channel 13?
Yeah. It's government-funded TV is what it is.
So that's
That
like
doesn't mean it's all bad.
but that's like one artery of the collective's.
Yes.
Yes.
And when I say media, I mean everything. I mean newspaper, internet, TV, whatever comes on your cell phone, everything that could possibly be coming through the eyes of the masses. And I want to use the word the masses. And I want to use the word control because at the end of the day, I'm not saying what they're doing is right. And I'm not saying what they're doing is wrong. What I'm trying to say is that
This is what they're doing.
there's a control mechanism, and that's the controlling mechanism. And so by instilling that fear, hopefully you'll do the opposite of what that. So, they're saying now, don't turn on your hot water because listeria runs through the hot water pipes. Don't turn. You'll have everybody, don't turn on the hot water. Hey, did you turn on the hot water? So the whole point was for people to not use hot water. Okay, so they condition you to do certain act, not do a certain act.
Understood.
How about the great toilet paper run of COVID? How do you know that wasn't a planted thing?
Yeah, I mean, that obviously, you know, but
Yeah, I mean, those are in extreme circumstances.
that's one example.
Oh my God, what are you going to wipe your ass with? Everybody ran to the stores and they cleared out the shelves.
So that's one of those things.
It could have been a planted story on social media, is what I'm saying.
And that's one of those things where one person does it, two people do it now like this.
Everyone's doing
And now I haven't gone for toilet paper yet, so I must go.
Yes.
If you don't
want to be the last.
And look, that could be a tricky situation too, because if you're even as aware as you might be, if you don't have the proper information, now you're making a decision based on information at hand, right? And that's where I think having a level of awareness is going to help you even more, because now you could kind of, all right, is this toilet paper thing, right? Is it really happening? And maybe you do a little bit more research. Maybe you could, find some information out one way or another, which could lead you in a more, instead of coming home with 48,000 rolls where you're putting them in all your closets, and which happened. And that's the reason why there's no more on the shelves, because somebody had all the toilet paper in New Jersey.
Imagine that.
It's true.
Somebody's still using the same toilet paper from 2020.
I think it's all nonsense. It's propaganda.
Rational people, sure it was. We're out there hunting for 48 rolls because I don't know what I'm seeing again.
Exactly. And that's, so kind of circling back to what we were saying, that's how fear plays a role. So we just spoke about like the grand level, right? So this is, I guess, at the highest level.
Macro,
right? The macro level will be media and stuff like that. How fear could move masses of people fairly quickly, which is why we implore people have a level of awareness, not to listen to your governments and not to listen to the people it's to be able to filter things out properly. This isn't an anti or a pro.
Yes.
This is a understand that fear can be used, and if you don't have a filter,
It'll weed out the nonsense.
yeah, you're not going to be able to weed out the nonsense. But that even means your own bias, right? Because your bias is going to play into fear.
You better be honest enough to
say, I have a bias that I'm pro this, or I'm anti this, or my bias is this person's out, this entity's out for us. And said, if those biases come into play, your decisions, you'll think it's not fear, but your decisions are still going to be based on that. So having that awareness is very important. So we all know how that plays out, right? With media, like we just said. But what about on a micro level? Now, you as a person, how fear, and gets back to kind of what we were talking about before, how fear is so as a person with goals and ambitions, I wanted to do this in my life. And I'm excited to do this. I'm excited. And very closely related to that excitement is fear. They're, and I said in my post, I said, they're cousins, where the same excitement that I want to do this and I'm excited for the goal is a fear of, what if I fail? What if I can't accomplish it? What if I make a fool of myself? What if I'm wrong? What if all these fears and inhibitions about not being able to achieve it hold you back from doing it? And it becomes now, which story do I want to feed? So both those the duality of those stories are always going to be there on the macro level or on the micro level. But on the micro level, as a person, am I going to feed the excitement? Not hoping that the fear goes away or those questions disappear, but I'm still going to feed the excitement and do what I want to do. And however it plays out, at least I did that. Like Frank Sinatra said, I did it my way. I didn't do my mind's way. I did it my way. I wanted to do this. Or am I going to feed the fear and not even try, stop short, give myself the excuse of, yeah, but I gave it a shot. When did you really follow through? Did you do everything you could do? Were you really on that path and following that path, seeing it through because it's what you actually want to do, or are you not? Right? And that's where fear could completely derail you. And if you don't have that awareness to understand which one you're dealing with, it'll pigeonhole you for sure.
There's a word for it.
Yeah.
Bob Proctor called it the wall.
I just was listening 2 days ago.
So there's a word. He uses a word. It's something wall. It's a something wall.
Yes.
So the wall, he says, is when like what you said, I could feed the wolf on the other side of that wall, which is that excitement.
Yeah.
We're going to do this. Or I could keep feeding the wolf on this side of the wall, which is,
it's scary. Yeah. Big bad wolf.
He says, we got to get through that wall in order for...
Everybody has different ways of phrasing.
Right? In order for that change to take effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about. I'm like putting it together in my mind. I'm like, yeah, that.
And what's the key? What's the key ingredient that even a guy like Bob Proctor mentions that? Because he'll say it also, to have that self-awareness, to understand which path do I want to take? Do I want to take the path of fear, or do I want to take the path of excitement? And I use excitement because, you know, when you think of something, you want to do something. Like when I was a kid, I wanted to be a pilot. Like that was I wanted to be a friggin' pilot. If you look at my 8th grade yearbook, life, like it said, like life, look, what do you want to be when you grow up? Everybody had a list.
Mine says the same
Pilot
thing.
Did I become a pilot?
Same
No.
exact thing.
And you want to know why I didn't become a pilot?
Navy pilot.
Because fear. The fear got the best of me.
I wasn't smart.
Good enough. Am I smart? Am I not smart?
No, I said I wasn't smart enough.
Well, not to get into the Navy. All right. So not to get into the Navy. I wanted to be even just a commercial pilot. Yeah.
Diesel.
But by the way, my favorite song, and everybody in my family knows when that song comes on, I get text. People text me with that song is on the radio, just sent me pictures of it because I know I love Top Gun. I love the movie. I love everything about planes. I never did it because fear. So when I was,
You love my son's school.
The fact that he's going, yeah.
It's all about it.
it is. That's a different kind of flying. Yeah, that's like that's smart flying. No, I want to be the guy. What do you mean, no?
They cranked the pilots out of there mostly. Aerospace came later. That's a pilot school first.
But like you could go there for just to get a pilot's license.
Oh yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, I think John wanted to go much faster than like a jumbo jet, though. Like John wanted to.
Yeah,
go
I did, but
I'm hair on fire.
I don't know if my body could withstand that. Not at this age, at least.
No,
you know?
when you were 21, we couldn't.
Maybe, but I always wanted to be. I never did. In my early 40s, I started taking flying lessons again. When I went up there, do not think that I didn't have fear. You know, because now I had a lot more. Also, there's a lot more on the line. Family, 2 kids, and I'm up in the Cessna. You know, a 25-year-old. Yeah, with one engine. And I'm sure they were well maintained. Don't get me wrong, but now you said, and I did it as far as I could do it, and for reasons I don't want to get into. You know, just to make people happy, I stopped doing it because it was a lot of. I was making other people nervous. I was making other people nervous, and I chose. At that point, it wasn't fear on my end. It was I chose to say, okay, I don't want to hurt the people that I care about. Their concern weighed more, and I made the decision. Okay, there's no need for me. Plus, I was told, even if you get your license, we're never going anywhere with you. I'm like,
and what's the use?
but I'm gonna go
What's the use?
I'm by myself. I just trying to do a circle.
Glad you listen to me.
Huh?
One of my friends that lives right over here in Regency, he is a full-blown like jet pilot. He does a lot of flights over to Bermuda, a lot
Wow, it's
of first-class flight. You know, what are they called?
commercial, like the private
Like a private flights.
Yeah,
He's always
you get different
posted.
certifications.
He does a lot of runs to Florida and back, and all private.
You get a lot of certifications, but
He gets to go a lot of places.
yeah, and that's very cool, right? I mean, again, that passed in my life.
If it floats your boat.
If it floats your boat, it's awesome. And that's where, for me as a kid, that fear kind of stopped me from doing any of that stuff. I just didn't realize I didn't realize that I could feed my excitement. I thought I had to listen to the fear because the fear is what's going to keep me, watch this, safe. It's going to keep me safe.
It could have been in crazy career, but
But I wouldn't have had the life I have now. But I'm more talking like that keeping you safe. See how that keeps you boxed in. And as you get older and other opportunities come, you start passing on, forget about the pilot, but now you start passing on other opportunities because that fear is still there. I'm sorry.
No, don't worry about it. But you go.
Oh, yeah.
No, I was going to say, for me, the fear of failure is what kept me so aware. Believe it or not, can it work in that direction? Because my fear of failure is what made sure that I was on point in my world.
So
can it be worked?
You're talking about as, like with the cops and ESC.
Yeah, well, anything. Yeah, something like that.
Oh, for your
My fear of either failure or death would make you so aware that you are hyper aware about everything at that moment.
It was that was.
Can that be possible?
So that was yes. So you're talking about a different form of fear, which is kind of momentary fear, like in the moment fear,
yes.
fight or flight. Fear.
Okay,
so now I'm so hyper aware in this situation.
Yeah.
That I need to be I need to be zoned in so nobody gets hurt.
Hyper aware. Yeah.
As a first responder, military,
But the way
or even a pilot.
you're talking about you're talking about long drawn fear.
I'm talking about working towards in the scheme of life, like the things you want to do.
It could also be generational fears. You ever think about that?
Well, it's passed down. That's how it's.
What if, like, somebody, God forbid, your grandfather died as a pilot or something like that, and then your family never wanted you to do that out of fear that you would be
and they could
in
plant
his
that
footsteps.
seed. Yeah, they'll plant
that seed, and it grows and it grows.
And it grows and it grows. But and then it just keeps cascading. And
Sure.
and you start passing up on all these things in life.
Like a generational.
You have a fear of taking that next step. What happens if I leave my comfort zone? Hey, you don't grow. I'm not telling people to, like, whatever you do. Choices you make in your life,
but
are yours.
step out of your comfort zone.
What?
You don't have to leap out of it.
So no, so in your comfort zone, and we said this on the show before, in your comfort zone, is there growth in a comfort zone? No, you will be safe, you will be comfortable, and that's absolutely fine. And I'm not saying people should follow their mind to be ambitious and super ambitious and keep going and never have a moment where they're actually content with where they are in life. So you could be happy or content where you are in life and still have a desire to accomplish things. That's absolutely fine, right? And that's I think you have a whole different conversation how the mind could play games with you there. But with the aspect of fear, like, it's being aware and recognizing that it can, under the flag of safety, keep you from living a life that you actually want to live or doing something you want to do. Or, how many times you hear people say, oh, you know what I really wanted to be in life? You know what I really wanted to do? Yep. And I'm not complaining about the job I have, or I'm not saying that I'm not happy with how my life turned out, right? Turned out for this way. Somebody could be saying this, right? But you would always ask that person, so why didn't you become a X? Well, I thought blah, 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 blah. Was it going to work out? What if I failed? Jim Carrey has a great story where he says his father was a better comedian than he was.
And I heard that. Yeah.
Because my father because my father could have been 10 times better than I was. He goes, but his fear of not being able to support his family or fear that he would fail at it made him take a job as accountant. Because his exact words, he goes, it was a safe job. He goes, 3 years later, that same safe job let him go.
Can I say something, though?
Yeah.
Because that father took that safe job, might have given Jim the foundation he needed to take that risk that his father couldn't.
It probably did happen.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I look at it in that sense.
But I think the point
it's a generational thing, and he gave him a foundation. Because maybe if Jim had to support a family at a young age, then maybe he wouldn't have taken those risks either. If you think.
Well, I don't know the. Yeah, I mean,
I'm just talking about that generational thing.
Yeah, no. So it does play. But he saw his father's fear instead and swore never to do that. So he didn't carry.
So he decided to change that.
He decided to try. He saw the fear that his father had, where he goes, my father could have been great at something, and he chose not to because he was scared he would fail at it. So he took a safe job. He goes, but instead, that safe job let him go. He says, I'd rather fail at something I love to do than fail at something I don't want to do. So that is like, if you're scared of failing at something or not being successful at it, his point, what he was trying to say, and to a certain degree, there's a lot of truth in that, right?
There's this level of maturity.
Why not fail at something that you actually care about?
You miss all the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
Wayne Gretzky.
And for all the people out there who took the safe job, I think that's the ultimate sacrifice, right? Because you want to support your family. And I
did
get that. Huh?
I did. I was a civil servant.
Yeah.
That was the safe route.
Yeah.
That was a steady job with a pension, with a health care. And
there's no
on John's end,
100%.
he went the private way, and where it's a little more. You got to sink or swim. I had a union. Don't get me wrong, things can flip on you pretty quick, but for the most part, we were kind of protected. Yeah, so it was a stable check every 2 weeks.
But you had a different level of fear that you had to deal with.
You also had
the momentary fear.
Yes, exactly. But that's the difference. I think it's
I took the safe.
Yeah, but meaning career-wise.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, they say that's,
They do say, become a
postal worker.
Patient person, those are considered safer jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of our mental prisons are fear.
Mental prisons.
Yeah. Because it keeps you in a mental prison. Fear.
How about fear of flying? People won't leave anywhere. They never get to explore.
Listen to this reframe straight from the book, straight from Scott Adams' book, Reframe Your Brain.
Okay.
So there's a reframe. So we were just talking about you took, the safe job.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Carrey's father. Scott Adams says, your job is not your job. Your job is trying to find a better job. That's your job. So he reframed it as,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
if,
or in my case, move up for more money, get promoted,
Within the ranks.
what ends up happening is your mind now starts to see possibilities, see things that perhaps you weren't looking for because you were at your job. But now, if your job is to get a better job, or at least that's the reframe, then you're always looking. Well,
see, I kind of agree with that. If you set a goal in life and you reach it, what do? You set another goal. Are you ever just satisfied with that? Is any human being just satisfied with just that ground level goals?
Yes, there are human beings that, yes, they settle.
Really? I always think there's something else humans will looking
Some
for.
human beings settle because it's safe.
Or they're not aware that they don't even realize that they have a choice.
The devil they know.
I guess,
And if they don't have that, if they don't have a certain level of self-awareness, they won't realize that they actually do have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And what you were saying before, the generational fear where you're told,
Yeah.
if you don't realize it and you're told something like, take the blank slate. You said, I'm a baby on a blank slate. Nobody told me anything. Well, what I tell you, why wouldn't you believe it now? As a child, you're going to believe what the adult's saying because you think this is how it works, right? It's like a puppy. You train a puppy, sit here. The puppy understands, oh, here are the commands. This is what I do. The mind starts to develop, and understand things. And here are the cues. And now I react. And this is how things go. The human mind's not very much different. Yes, a little bit more. It's more complex. But it has those same reactionary aspects to it, right?
Yep.
Same exact ones. So that's where that generational fear definitely comes into play. But if you don't realize you have that choice, which wolf am I going to feed? Which path do I want to take? You could, like you said before, be in a mental prison and you always say, but I'm safe. But you have this gnawing at you inside. And that gnawing is actually what you wanted to do, what you wanted to be, right? And I'm talking about somebody who's really repressed their ambitions and everything to just stay as safe as humanly possible. That person will always tell you that there was something in them that felt unsatisfied. And that unsatisfaction is that excitement in you that you never fed. That's saying, I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to try this. I wanted to recite that. I wanted to try anything.
You're singing to me exactly what's happening to me right now.
I'm singing?
Well, because I'm about 3/4 of the way through writing a book, and I have a mental prison about, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to put this out? Do I really want to, receive any kind of criticism about anything? It's my story. It's my life. This is the way I see it. But still, there's a fear of, why the hell say anything? But in a lot of ways, I want to document things for my family and kids.
What's the main reason? One thing that you wouldn't put this book out.
My point is, though, I'm going with exactly what you said, is that fear is kind of holding me back a little bit. I'm feeling exactly what you're saying, because that mental prison of, I haven't been able to break through that wall yet. But if I took all that energy and put it towards, hey man, I want to really push this out, I'm going to do it. I'm going to sit down and just keep on chomping at the keyboard.
So are you? And this is where I actually, like you said that.
When I read that quote, when I read that, that's why I said that really it hit me, because that's exactly where I'm at right now.
So this
with that,
it's important that I think it's great. It's very important that you said that, because with the excitement part of fear, with the cousin of fear that I like to call excitement, which I say is a cousin of fear.
Mm-hmm.
If you have with that excitement, if you have predetermined must have circumstances, or it's a failure, you're going to feed the fear.
I don't. Yeah.
So you say, if I don't sell 1,000 copies,
no.
Like before I did my book, I'll give you an example. Right? Before I did my book, if I had the mentality of, if I don't sell 1,000 copies, if I don't sell 100, if I don't get this many reviews, if I don't have, it's not going to be worth it. And I never would have fucking wrote this book. Because I can tell you, I haven't sold 1,000 fucking copies.
No, John, but I've gotten nothing when I've told people that I'm writing a book. I've gotten nothing but positive feedback. It's me. It's 100% me. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's people out there who say,
I'm not talking about the positive feedback. I was told something when I was going to write this book. One person, my friend, she goes, you write this book for one reason only, because you want to tell your story in the hope, I said, I said, in the hopes of helping one person.
Yeah.
She goes, then it does not matter if nobody reads it, if 1,000 people read it. She goes, will you feel like you accomplished something by writing the book and publish? I go, yes, I will feel like I've put my thoughts and my heart into it, and I put it out, and hopefully somebody helps. I don't need to get my cousin Joey to call me and go, yo, that fucking book was all. You know how many people bought this book? Friends of mine. And I asked them, have you read it? No. Okay, great. But the 5 people out of the however many bought it that left a review, 6 people, whatever, on Amazon and said, this should, that's it. That's all I need.
Yeah.
That's great. It's not so much that person I don't know.
I'm sure it's probably the fear of criticism. So, which one half of me says I really don't care, and then the other half says I really don't want to hear criticism. So, but that would be that.
But that'll be the mental prison that'll keep you back.
That is the mental prison.
But why should somebody's criticism mean anything?
You're 100% right. And as time is going on, it means less and less to me. Right now,
because your levels of awareness are growing more and more.
Yes, and I really don't care as much about those voices.
Yeah.
So
wherever they might be.
We touched on this a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, a while ago. We've spoken about this, and I've had personal stuff happen to me. Sometimes these things happen serendipitously. I'll use the word again. What happened to you when you had your moment of, oh my God, I'm realizing I cannot continue? Well, you had let's say, your fork in the road, and you had to make a decision. Continue life as you knew it, or go through this new barrier, which is therapy, treatment, discover what the hell's going on, how I could, and you chose that, you chose that excitement. I'm going to use the word excitement, but you chose that.
There was a certain level of excitement to get started on something,
because
while the fear
found your new path.
And the truth is,
they'll both bark at me. Oh, it was barking at me. Oh, it was barking.
You just mentioned yours, and I had mine.
Yeah.
You saw me.
Yeah.
But the funny part is that all of us are going through this new past the wall territory,
and we're scared as shit.
None of us right here, right now, giving good advice. None of us know that comfort zone that we had before. We're not in comfort.
Oh, we're not at the destination. We're still on the path.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're still on the path.
There is no destination.
Correct.
Yeah, just when it's a mirage.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. It's a mirage.
You get the T-shirts. I just want a little couple cents.
You think it's
if it becomes the happy face T-shirt, you make millions. Just give me a little bit.
I like that. It's a mirage. Because the destination is exactly that. Because when you get there, that disappears. Your mind goes, now what?
Life isn't about the destination.
Life is just a journey.
It's a journey. You're on the path. What you're seeing is just a mirage. Or something like that. I gotta feed it in.
Incredible what you just said.
I'll workshop it.
And I thought about what happened to you. Thought about what happened to me. And it's incredible that this thing happened to us. Because the truth is, if it were up to us, we wouldn't have upset the apple cart. Meaning, if it were,
I was perfectly fine with the way everything was going.
I would not. I'm not. So are you. So are you. Yeah, there are forces beyond us.
There's a way, and you could say to universe, or I feel God has a way of changing your path. And sometimes, if the path you're on, or it's a path you've been on a long time, and it's a difficult course to change, the drastic measures it takes to turn you around or change that path it's going to be a bigger event. It's going to be something bigger, because somebody just doesn't go, oh, now I'm just going to go off and do this. Usually something will curve you towards that.
Yeah.
Usually. And
just a universal, holy, whatever powers you want to call it.
This is the weirdest thing for me, because it's like surreal right now. So like, there's been about 3 years or more, because 3 years where I'm looking at it full time, but like even before, I wanted to invest in a certain way, and
we've talked about this plenty of times.
Today, with no past employment, meaning my current employment is not really an employment. If I make sales, I get paid. If I don't, zero. Like every day that passes, I don't have a check.
That's terrifying.
I don't have a check Friday. Every Friday, I don't have a check.
That's
so
commissions.
I had to do it.
That's a difficult way to live.
And my fear was through the roof.
Yeah.
I'm about to tell you something that today I've engaged in the investing that I wanted to do. I've gone through the barrier, let's say. I'm now free to do things. I'm sure you feel the same way, that you have a certain freedom to do things, different things that perhaps wouldn't have seemed like something you would have done before.
100%. 100%.
You know what I mean?
No, I agree.
And today we could do this podcast at X o'clock in the day, whereas, don't get me wrong. If I had a 9 to 5, then I got to go 10 to the 9 to 5. We probably do the podcast either a different day or a different time, whatever. But we could do this.
5 years ago, do you think a guy like me would be sitting here talking about mindfulness? Do you really? I could tell you there's.
Yeah.
No, honestly, I was not in touch. No, don't tell you.
You mean him particular?
Me particular.
Not now. 5 years ago.
The 5 style somebody like you, like
No. 5 years ago, me, Anthony, this is something I would never even approach. And my life's taken a turn, and this is something that I find helpful and useful, and not something I would have ever even approached or thought about 5 years ago.
Yeah. So
Honestly.
we're practicing what we preach.
Yeah.
We are currently
This is not a show about people who just have an idea about something and just talk about it. This is a show with three people who have
John's like,
we are
2 days.
we are field. You know what they call field tested? We're field tested.
Yeah.
We're the mice.
Yes, we're field tested. So this product has been put through trials and trials and trials. So we have now brought to market a perfect product because we have experienced everything that probably can experience
three different gigantic problems and stories.
Three different stories.
And from different directions. Am I right?
Yeah, sure.
Which shows you that, this is a technique and a tool that can be applied anywhere.
Anything.
Because
It's a way of life.
once you separate, I was talking to John the other day, once you realize that that inner voice of yourself is just your brain talking to you and you don't always have to listen to it. Once you realize it's a little bit separate, that's the most difficult part, is separating the two.
It's a lot bit separate. It's not you. That voice is never who you
point is, I think that's step number one to realizing, hey, I don't got to listen to that guy going, you're a piece of shit every 2 minutes or whatever it might be.
Even though that voice might not quiet down, but
it might not quiet down, but it's not going to stop you from doing what you have to do in life, and you got to push forward. That is something that applies to everyone. And I don't see how it doesn't. Maybe people apply it in different ways and don't know what the name is, mindfulness or awareness. They might not realize that's the name of it, but it's what they're doing. If you're pushing on through life and you're able to get past those things that would normally stop others, you are doing okay. And you're probably using a lot of these techniques and not even realize it.
Green.
Well, he had mentioned, John had mentioned a while ago,
This guy.
says to be able to live life according to your values. So you can't do that if there's this voice
That was a game changer.
continuously blocking or questioning, and then there's you that has, you have these values, but you're going to put them aside because the other you, what you think is you, has said, you might want to.
That's the thing. The only thing that is stopping you from being where you want to be are the bullshit excuses you tell yourself over and over and over. And the sooner you can realize that that's just your brain telling you that, and it means nothing, then you could push past it. And people do it all the time. And they're using mindfulness and awareness to do it. Obviously, they just didn't know what they were doing. And hey, I'm strong, I'm tough. But what they're really doing is being able to push past those barriers in a lot of ways.
So they are pushing past the barriers, but mindfulness isn't about, mindfulness and awareness, and that's very true what you just said. People do push through things, right? They have a stronger mentality or a very alpha mentality, and they push through things. But if I ask that person, was that a struggle for you? And they're going to say, yes. If I ask a mindful person, was that a struggle for you? They will say, I might not have enjoyed what my mind was saying, but there was no struggle at all. Once you've reached awareness and mind, once you've actually understood it, that struggle's gone. So yeah, that person does push.
Okay.
Agreed, 100%.
Okay.
That person does push through, but they push through. They're
pushing a much heavier rock than they have to.
Yes.
Write another T-shirt.
No. That'll be our second.
That'll be another T-shirt right there. Stop pushing the bigger rock.
I mean, it's funny. It's funny because with mindfulness, By pushing through, you're pushing the rock, and it's a rock. With mindfulness, you do this.
You realize the rock wasn't there.
Yeah.
No, you realize, with mindfulness, you realize the rock isn't real.
Yeah.
And you're not pushing anything. And now
It doesn't feel like it.
now you, as I love to say, I surf the waves. I don't swim the waves. I don't get battered by the waves. I surf with the waves. If I've never gone surfing, but I can imagine what surfing is like. Picture being on a sailboat, on a wavy, and the boat's just going up and down.
Never swim.
It's not crazy.
Never swim against the current, is the saying.
Yeah, never swim against the current.
Swim with it.
Swim with the current, right? And it's the same. That's what
How you get out of the rip.
That's how mindfulness works.
Yes. Right.
You swim with it. It make you take you out to sea, cut across, and you come back. But it's going. It's not. That's why I like that example he used. Like people push through. They're not using mindfulness. They're basically using stubborn mentality, but it's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's taxing on
And
the
you can
body.
probably only do
and
that
not-
for so long, for so many things.
And
before
eventually
you break.
those people break,
Yeah.
or they break down, or
Yeah.
they whatever. I can go through something traumatic, and it could suck to high hell. This doesn't mean shit doesn't suck, but it's got a different feeling to it. Even when I'm having a down day, or my mind is super active, or whatever, or something bothering me, I'm still surfing through it. I'm not in a struggle or a fight, right? And that's where, like, fear is a big proponent even in that. Like, people who, when fear is very prominent in the way you think, a lot of things become a struggle in your life. But even a decision you want to make, now you agonize over it because of the fear of what might happen. And if you don't have any conscious awareness or any presence or self-awareness, whatever word you want to use, they all mean the same exact thing. Those decisions become taxing.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. You have somebody, I can't make a decision. The fear of taking a step keeps you on pause.
I know a lot of people like
Yeah.
make a decision.
Right?
Drives me bonkers.
Yeah. Can't make a decision.
Pick a lane and go with it.
I find myself in that position all the time.
Yeah.
Where
You're scared to.
You can't let, again, here we go. You can't let that fear stop you from making a decision.
No, when
It could influence it maybe, but it shouldn't
okay,
stop
so
you.
But you're human. That happens.
Yeah, of course it
Yeah.
does.
I mean,
when that happens, like it's happening to me a lot recently, especially with certain things I'm doing for business. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'll stop and look at a situation and go, "We're doing the right thing."
See, I think there's a difference between fear and then saying, I want to educate myself and make sure I know everything I need to know about this. There's a difference there. Maybe
Well, there's a little fear.
there is.
but
So the fear never goes away. So in other words, a person who's excited about doing something, and they choose to feed excitement, doesn't mean, oh, now I'm excited. I don't care about the fear. Certain people could do that naturally, and that's great. God bless you. Good for you. But the majority of people in the world who don't have that predisposition to just block out everything else, it's not that those fearful thoughts disappear. They do not. You just stop giving them the credence that they're yearning for. You stop feeding them. You stop amplifying them, and instead you give your energy to the path you want to take, with the fear that comes along with it, right? So whether it's a real estate investment, putting out your book, excited about the investment, excited about writing the book, right? Fear the investment might go south or something might go wrong. Fear somebody might say your book sucks. I'm not saying,
I know what I'm saying. Criticism. Fear,
criticism.
Yeah.
Criticism. Which one do you want to feed?
Yeah.
Now,
You're right.
Anthony's on his due diligence. This isn't about not we're not saying go like this
I know what you mean. Yeah.
and jump off a cliff. No, you look before you jump. We all understand that. That's the intelligent thing to do. But you do your due diligence, but be careful that the due diligence doesn't become, well, I got to look a little bit more. And I got to look at, because your mind is
becomes
like,
a hamstring.
well, we need more information. Yeah. We need, the carrot's going to be here. We need more information.
And it can't be the excuse.
Yeah,
for
because
feeding
fear,
yourself and not
because
making
that's backdoor spikes
Yep.
and OCD. The mind it uses the same tool, except it's not obsessive compulsive disorder. It's fear. It goes, oh, wait, let me give Anthony another question. Give Henry another question.
It's that same dude.
It's the same dude, just went like this.
different mask.
And all of a sudden you're like, I haven't made any progress. I have a million questions. If you leave your mind will keep doing that. When this game,
Yeah.
it'll keep doing that. It will. It has no problem. And fear will stay there. So do your due diligence and then you make a decision based on your values and the things that you want to accomplish in life. And look, things don't always work out. But would you rather fail at something that you wanted to do or never have tried it at all? Like, you know?
We're talking about him, but we haven't said it. It's the ego.
Oh, yes. The ego.
The ego.
The ego takes many forms, and fear is one of them. Correct.
And and there. The ego. Not my ego.
I think that requires a whole, that's a...
Don't ever say I'm fake.
Oh,
For help in how
words
are worded. Don't say my ego anymore. I say the ego.
Because it's not your ego.
So I thought about, on the way here, actually, I identification, the ego and the ego, and how that little change in wording can help somebody. Especially, don't refer to it anymore as my ego. Stop. The ego.
No.
Because the ego exists in every single person. I almost wonder if it's one ego.
I don't even have an ego anymore.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
Ego. So your ego is your thinking.
Ego.
There I go. Yeah.
Your ego is actually your thinking mind. That's all it is. Your thinking mind. The ego is the thinking mind. People put the word ego as far as I'm egoic. Like I'm, but I say in my book too, there's the self-defeating ego and there's the lifting ego, I guess, right?
I think that the ego is one of those natural forces that, because just so we talk about the downloadable memory or the memory on the iCloud.
So same where our phones have pictures in the cloud,
right?
And we download them.
Correct. Remember how we've spoken about how where are your thoughts?
A scientist cannot.
I don't think having an ego is necessarily a bad thing. I think there's a healthy amount. I think that you got to speak positive about yourself.
So
isn't that part of the?
No. So, but you're giving the ego the definition of I'm an egoic. I'm very egoic. I'm very confident. Yes.
Yeah.
So you're using that definition. That's like modern. That's what people will say the ego actually is. The ego is actually so the ego also tells you suck. So how can something that tells you you're great tell you suck?
Oh, is that what that is?
Yes. The ego just saying the ego is the same. The fear that person like is that ego.
Gotcha.
So that people think ego is just this self-defeating. It's a thinking mind. It's burning away. When you lose your ego, I haven't burnt the ego off, but a lot of mine has burnt off because I don't give my mind any credence unless it's something that's important for it to give credence to. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean it doesn't stop barking at me, because God knows it does, but it doesn't hold the weight it used to anymore. So the ego is not as strong as it used to be.
Gotcha.
In negative ways and positive ways, and everything in between.
So what I was saying is,
I'm sorry,
the ego.
Yes, not my.
And not my ego. Because the minute you say my, you have one.
You identified with it.
But when you say the ego, I now turn it around and I think it's the ego. It's that same thing. It's
that icon on the desktop.
Yeah, it's communicating with all of us. And then it's up to all of us to either listen or not listen or do whatever you want with the ego.
So if
not my ego.
No, and I agree. And look, that's we could do a whole. We could probably do a whole show on, is it one hive conscious mind that we're all feeding off of? We don't.
That's too much.
No, it's not.
Do you get me?
No, I got you. It's deep.
I
love
it's pretty. I don't feed book, and I'm like, I'm talking about.
I love that stuff.
It's a bit much.
I mean, can you have this one universal mind that we all connected to? People have said that we are. And if we got out of our own way, we'd be able to communicate actually with each other telepathically. I haven't done research on this.
Of course, yeah.
No, but if we learn how to remove the blocks, and the blocks is by stopping our identification with the mind, you could actually use the mind in much greater ways for what it was really intended to be.
So I've heard Eckhart Tolle to say how So like, if you had the ability to, let's say, quiet or strip away an ego, that's who you are. That's who you are.
The awareness that sees it, right? Notices it and goes, it doesn't say I see you, just notices it's there. That's who we really are.
So
spiritual essence.
Right. So you take that thought and I'm like, okay, since we're all just in awareness and we're just in these vessels, we're like
We're renting this costume.
we're avatars in these vessels, which is another heady thing that like very difficult to basically digest.
Religious people call it a soul.
Exactly.
It's not that hard to actually digest.
Yeah, but they use the soul as something different. Like they still have an identification with their mind, and then the soul is separate. They don't realize they actually are the soul, and they're not there thinking. That's
Well, see, I look at it as I am. That is who I am.
Who?
My soul. This is just a meat bag.
great.
Yeah, it's a meat bag.
It's a meat bag.
It's a meat bag with hair.
Well, to some people. Thanks a lot, bro.
No, I'm with the same.
Thanks for all that. Well, bro. Speaking about ego.
But yeah, so I'm wondering if the ego is just this force that basically stems upon us, and then we decide how to deal with that force. For example, I have this vision that the deeper you go into mindfulness, the deeper you are, let's say, the more aware you are, you now taking your ego, I'm going to use it for this example, and you put it in a closet. In the room where all your thoughts lay, but the ego is in the closet and he's locked up. Now, you're aware. So that's why you lock them and you're like, I don't want you affecting what I'm doing. I want to be, but you still hear it. But he's locked behind a door, so it doesn't have that same power. It doesn't have the same power.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, I don't know if what I'm about to say is an excuse but you might
be curious.
You might say that's actually good advice, or that's actually a better way.
So the ego's, this is where it gets a bad rap. I don't know. Anthony was right. We kind of went off topic a little bit here, but the ego isn't it's not a bad thing. It's the thinking mind. It's what
it's telling you.
Are you giving attention to?
I agree.
What part of it what are you giving it? Are you believing everything? Are you believing the fact that this is your identity? Bob Proctor said it best once. He said in an interview when he was younger, he goes, Bob Proctor is a name that was given to me. He goes, if I call down to here, I'm not going to see, I'm not going to, if I was sick, he goes, I'm not going to call and go, my body is not going to be coming in today. Because everything is names and identities. And he said, we live life on three planes, a spiritual plane, an intellectual plane, and a physical plane, right? And we do. We have our physical bodies, the intellectual thinking mind, but then there's something inside of us that we cannot explain. And that is our awareness. That's that thing that sees. And so to tie back into what I was saying before, if you don't have that ability to see the thinking mind in the body that you're living in, how do you understand when propaganda comes out to not overreact to fear, or to have that duality where excitement and fear are both these two thinking patterns in your brain about this thing you want to do? Which one do I give the attention to? Right? So
you can make a mistake.
You're feeling sad today for whatever reason. Our bodies shift and change. Our physical body cannot be controlled to a certain extent. We can't control if our levels change dramatically because of environment or something around us. They're going to do that. Cloudy day for 3 days in a row. All of a sudden you're feeling low. You don't know what. Do I give attention to that? Now, without awareness, we give attention to it. Why do I feel crappy? Oh my God. And you're in a hole. Or I notice that I'm feeling low. I notice that I'm feeling sad. I notice I don't feel the urge to do things right now. I notice it. I see it's there, but I'm going to choose anyway to do something that I want to do and re-engage in life. And by the way, that stint of that, however you're feeling, becomes shorter as you do that more and more and more, because you start giving the energy, plugging into, I'm plugging into this side, right? So, this investment, I don't know if it's going to go good. Should I do it? Should I do it? I did my due diligence. It's a great investment. Everything makes sense. At some point, we have to make a decision on it. Or analysis paralysis by analysis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
That was my
Yeah. Oh, God. And then all that is that's the ego. It's fear coming back in and saying, I'm going to give you another reason, Henry. I'm going to give you another reason, Henry. I always say the best decisions I made in my life were not overthought. They were thought about, and then I just followed through with them. Whenever I overthink something, whenever I've gotten caught in my wheels and I'm hanging on too long, and now I see I'm spinning on it too long, I usually cut the cord and leave. Maybe I'll revisit it again. I don't make a decision on it right now, because now I know I'm taken for a ride. I've been taken for a ride, right? again, I did my due diligence. This isn't about, I don't want to hear somebody go, oh, John, I sold everything. You told me to leave my wife and kids and move to the Bahamas. No, I did not. And that's not fear. That's selfishness. That's something different, but it can. Would you rather be excited and stay excited and be okay with having a barking telling you you're going to fail and not paying attention to it and doing something that you really wanted to do and living that excitement of what you wanted to do? I'm excited about this book now, even if I've only sold 50 copies, right? I'm excited about this book still. There's a part of me that goes, yeah, be fucking sucker. Nobody bought your book. It's great. I'm excited because I wanted to do this. Done. If I spend enough time on this side, oh yeah, it'll tarnish everything I've done. It'll destroy that.
It wouldn't be standing here.
I had a thought. Look, I had a thought yesterday. John, you wrote a book? Okay. Then we started a podcast. Anthony came along. Great. I wanted to become a life coach. I got my certificate. I have a website. Great. John, you haven't taken off on any of those three things. Like none of them. The podcast is great and we do well. Like we have people who listen and I love it all. Like it never became like, oh my God, my book never became a bestseller. My coaching, like I'm not coaching all these people. Oh, they're all things that I was excited about doing and I wanted to do. And nothing can be, no matter what my mind wants to say about they haven't been uber successful or they have been, I would rather have gone down that path and have done them for whatever reason they needed to be done. And sometimes we don't know, things come full circle in another way, right? This might come full circle. Maybe it was meant because the one person who had to read it, and they didn't jump off a cliff. So I don't know. Whatever it might be, if I give credence to the voices that tell me, but you're not uber successful at any of those things, like you haven't done phenomenal, doesn't matter. I was excited about doing all three of those things, and I did them, right? Or else I wouldn't have done any of them if I would have listened to the other voices.
You did exactly what we talked about that one time where Scott Adams said, you want to go to the gym. Okay. It's a value to you. Okay. But you just can't bring us.
For example,
Right. Put your gym clothes on. That's all.
don't go.
But put your gym clothes.
Baby steps.
Tomorrow, get in the car. The next day, drive to the gym and just park and then go back home. The next day, go to the gym, park, just go inside, smell the gym, and just go home. There's going to come a point where I'm parked here, bro. Let's go inside. Now, you're doing the thing that you wanted to do. You valued health, you value going to the gym, and now you find yourself, I'm there. I'm at the parking lot. I mean, I'm just going to go in. I came in, what am I just, leave? No.
But you have to keep making that choice every day. It's not a one and done. You don't choose to do it today, and then I'm excited, and then tomorrow comes.
Every day's a new day.
So the key to this is with fear and excitement, you have to choose the excitement and the path that you want to, if it's a goal that you want to accomplish.
And stick with it.
Every day. You've got to keep choosing and keep choosing. And by the way, the choosing doesn't stop because that's where the awareness comes in. You get to keep choosing to stay on a path. Once you go on autopilot, you're going to start, you start swaying off, right? Because it's happened to me firsthand. I keep choosing. I know this is where I want to be. Is it exhausting? No. Why? Because why would I be exhausted choosing somewhere I want to be?
Something you want. Crazy. It's beautiful.
I want to be engaged in my family and my friends. I don't care what's going on. I don't care what's happening in my back of my mind. I don't care if my ears are ringing today. I don't care about it. It's there. I'm not making you go away. But if I choose every day, constantly to do what I want to do, it's not exhausting. It's not tiring. I'm spending no energy, and I'm putting my energy where I want it to be. But I have to be okay with taking this along with me.
That's great.
All right.
You hungry?
I'm starving. And if I don't get home in 2 minutes, they're gonna start without me.
Wait, we're talking about the ego. But say hello to Anthony's stomach.
Listen, some people eat good the whole day so they could eat at night. Okay, I want to eat dinner. Some people get to the heart of the podcast with the last 5 minutes and go on a real.
He's getting hangry. He tells me I get hangry.
Well, that's not a lie.
No, my blood sugar drops. I need to eat.
Listen, he would eat a sandwich off the floor. If he says I'm hungry 3 times in a row, It's like Beetlejuice. Yeah, he'll do whatever it takes to get food.
I like that.
He'll take down a cheetah if he has to.
Oh, cheetah, yeah. I think I say a child. No, I wouldn't say a child. But a cheetah? I might fight my dog for food if I was. Let's go, Milo. Me and you.
Listen, I know John a long time. When he says I'm hungry, that's the warning. Then it's like, now I'm really getting hungry. And by the time he says I'm starving, he's looking around of what's edible in the lungeable area.
We went to play golf a week ago, and I had the protein bar, and we only played 9 holes. We're at the end, we're about like 2 holes in, 2 holes to go, and I say, I'm hungry. And he's just looking at me.
I know it. I'm like,
about a whole day. I'm like, wow, bro, I'm starving now. By the time we get in the
we're
car,
peeling out on the way to get him.
And I go, we got to stop at Bagel before I got to get a sandwich.
Oh,
He's like, no,
I knew it. Yeah, I was like, no problem, John. Don't get mad. We're going to get your food right away.
He turns green.
Yeah.
And these pink shorts. And
No, I'll sit like this. I'll be draining me, but I'll sit like this. And yeah.
All right, gents.
You good?
We're good.
super.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
See you next time.
Goodbye. And I'll say goodbye.
And
Peace out.
I know some people would think I'm.
The insights and discussions that we speak about on our show are our own opinions and based on our life experiences. If you or someone in your family or someone you know is suffering and in need of help, please get them that help through medical attention or seeking proper therapy. Again, what we speak about are based on our experiences and not intended to be taken as a form of therapy. Thank you.